Okay, so the subway ring stage or arena fight or whatever you want to call it is kind of interesting. This is a screenshot from the original arcade game, and notice a couple of things here. See this the graphics for the lights at the top of the screen. See how it's actually just like a really dark gray that they used around the spotlights, and so it kind of stands out, kind of looks terrible, looks ugly. See, I mean, that would actually match. Yeah, it kind of stands out, looks weird. So basically what happens is you go into the ring, and then the players, or not the players, but the crowd in the background initially is not animated. And what happens is the brightness increases on the crowd, and then they start animating. But like I thought I could really do a better job of this because I mean it didn't really make sense the way it works. I mean it's like, where is the light source coming from? Why is the crowd lighting up? The actual light doesn't change at all. And so on top of making it resolution independent and doing all that stuff, I've made some kind of neat enhancements. So basically, if we go in here. Okay, so see how the initial state of everything, the crowd is basically really dim. And notice how you can't actually see the spotlight. There's no spotlight. Which makes sense because it's like if there's a light everywhere, why wouldn't they be whatever, brightness they're going to be? So the event system basically has a trigger where, as you walk into the stage, it increases the brightness on the crowd and on the spotlight until they're both, like full intensity. And also there's like a super smooth animation. This isn't some like shitty, 16-bit integer math, brightness adjustment. This is like ultra smooth, like seamless. So look at this. You see that? So basically, what's going on is the initial brightness on the crowd is set to basically be, 25% brightness. And the initial brightness on the spotlight, like the lights at the top, is set to be, basically 0 is the initial brightness. And because the crowd is basically 25% brighter, to keep them in sync, what the event does is it says, all right, the player or some player move through the ring, and it's time to light this puppy up. And so it increases the brightness for each of them, but it only increases the brightness for the crowd by 75% of what it's increasing the spotlights. And this basically keeps them in sync, and it basically means that they reach full brightness intensity at the same time, and it looks perfect. So yeah, I mean, basically there isn't a whole lot to do with the stage. It's a tiny little stage, but it is. Oh, and also notice how I set the brightness of the whole background to be that kind of dark gray, so you don't see that like shitty, ugly silhouette around the spotlight graphic anymore. It all actually like blends in seamlessly, so it looks a lot better. So yeah, it's a pretty nice improvement there. Just because it happens so quickly, just so you can catch it again here. As the players moving forward, see that like there's no animation. Like they're all static. Oh, I also changed the default animation too. Like for some reason, their initial default animation actually had the characters in the background like raising their arms and kind of doing like their, like their active animation frame and not their idle frame, which really doesn't make sense. Like if they're just sitting there quietly in the dark before they start cheering, before everything starts going on, shouldn't they be in their resting animation? So yeah, I've corrected that too. And so check out the seamless, smooth bullshit. Oh boy, feels good. Yeah, it's pretty nice. So that's just kind of like a little tiny way in which I can, improve this sucker. Let me just show you the, how this crap scales. So here is 21:9 aspect ratio. See how perfectly scales the ring, the size increases, and then oh god, and then. Let's bump it up to 32:9 aspect ratio. Oh Jesus. Yeah, got Yeah, it looks pretty fucking sexy. Okay, and then finally, let's do 32:9 aspect ratio. I might tweak this a little bit see, like, if you look at this crazy aspect ratio, you know, the skull in the middle of the ring does look kind of alone there. And also, like, one spotlight, you know, for this huge ass ring, like, might not be enough. So, you know, maybe, you know, I might do something where, depending on the resolution, I actually add multiple lights at the top of the stage. It probably would make more sense. Probably work a little better. But yeah, simple stage. This event system, oh man, it is paying off. I love the event system I did with this because I can and I love the lighting. You know, I can do anything with the lighting. It's so much more flexible than the original game. And I'm going to be, you know, doing this for things like in stage 1, when the enemies come out of the doors in the, you know, in the slums, you know, open the doors and walk out. They start off being dim, and as they get, you know, closer to the street, you know, they get, you know, they get lighter, you know, as they, you know, get to the light. And whereas the game only had like basically 3 you know color palette variations to handle, you know, like the brightness, this is going to be some like ultra smooth. You know, if you're running at 144 hertz, you're basically having this like super slick, smooth, you know, brightness intensity, you know, increase. So, you know, it's going to look pretty good. So yeah, I'm getting there, man. I've been hammering out these levels like mad. There are actually there's only like 3 or 4 more levels to go, and from there it's just going to be, I'm going to be adding in all of the, you know, like the character objects, you know, graphics, you know, working on the sound, and you know do the game proper. I'll be hooking up the events, you know, that actually let you like into stage, move to the next stage, you know, getting that in so you can actually play the game. But I'm liking the way it's turning out so far.